This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 18 of the Wisdom by WESA show on the Horse Radio Network. This is Mike Donnell.
I'm Casey Wilbanks-Coletti.
And this is Sophia Aguilar. Welcome to the Wisdom by WESA podcast on the Horse Radio Network.
This podcast is brought to you by the Western and English Sales Association, WESA, which provides the world's largest trade events for retailers, manufacturers, and sales representatives of the equestrian industry. In this podcast, we feature exclusive interviews with noteworthy Western and English personalities, retailers, and exhibitors who you've always wanted to talk to. Don't miss out on all the news for manufacturers and retailers in the equine industry. Hey, Sophia, welcome to the 18th episode of Wisdom by WESA.
Hey.
So today, let's talk about workshops, because with our guest today, we're going to be talking about the topic of workshops. So why don't you tell us some of the ways that WESA will be incorporating workshops into its trade shows?
Yeah, so WESA wants its trade shows or markets to be more than just a place to shop the latest trends and brands for your store, but also to learn. And our educational session that is the most like workshop is the June how-tos, where sales reps or manufacturers take the time to explain, for example, how to shape a hat or how to fit a boot to a smaller audience of retailers. And in January, we have various product presentations where exhibitors present their newest products in details. Just the last market, we, for example, had Outback Trading presenting their new Stockman Duster.
What benefits do you directly see in workshops or the demos?
Yeah, so retailers get to watch these demonstrations up close and personal. And you're with industry experts, so you get to ask as many questions as you'd like. And those tips and tricks from those pros really help them to gain the needed edge in the retail environment.
Are exhibitors and retailers able to provide feedback?
Yes, we always welcome feedback, but if they're interested in a particular category or company, for example, a boot fitting by, let's say, Twisted X, then they can always reach out to us as well. So we welcome both feedback and suggestions. Or if exhibitors, of course, can also reach out if they would like to give a how-to demo themselves.
Right. You always have such helpful tidbits, and I love this section of the podcast. But now let's get on to our interview today with our guest.
After many years editing an equestrian magazine, Ingrid Schultz switched careers to go into the Western wear retailing business in Calgary and opened Cody and Sue, which she describes as featuring the cutting edge of mainstream Western clothing, as well as Western art and artisan work. The store also sponsors Way Out West Fest, an annual series of workshops and field trips focused on Western culture. Cody and Sue has also opened a brand new store with sufficient room for a series of planned in-house workshops. Ingrid Schultz, thank you so much for being on Wisdom by WESA.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm really excited that I get to have this opportunity to talk about our Western culture here in Alberta.
Well, I think it'll be great. We and I, for our listeners' sake, you are relatively new to the retailing business, but you're a veteran of the Western business because you edited a Western magazine for many years, then decided to change careers and open Cody by Sue. We also want to talk before the show is over about your Westfest, but let's talk a little bit about how and why you got into the retail business, and then tell us a little bit about the personality of your store and your merchandise.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I owned a Western riding magazine for many years and became really connected with the Western culture out here. It was a performance horse magazine. So I began to, know all the ranchers and artists, musicians, and really became ingrained and very well connected with Western culture here and grew a real passion for it. So when the magazine. I sold the magazine a few years ago, and at that time we were traveling through the Southwest states. My daughter and I were competing in cutting, trying to make it to the world finals. And we would be at these places in Arizona and Texas, and I saw these great Western shops, and I decided that Calgary should have one as well, and that it would be a really, great idea to bring to Calgary. There's a lot of folks in the city who, may not call themselves Western, but they find the appeal of Western clothing and accoutrements quite interesting, and they, I think, all have a little bit of a West in them. So there started the idea of the shop and of Cody and Sue, and we opened almost 3 years ago now. And we have a brick and mortar shop in Inglewood, which is the oldest neighborhood in Calgary, and it's only about 10 minutes from the Stampede grounds. And as well, we have a really robust online business.
Well, I know Mike's going to want me to jump in here for a minute.
Yes, I did.
It comes to fashion. I don't know why I don't like fashion at all, but no, I love fashion. I love Cody and Sue. There's something that always jumps out at me anytime I'm scrolling through Facebook, social media, which we're all guilty of. Your images of your products come up, and they just feel so authentic and so warm. And I'm not surprised, because when I go to your website, do a little more digging, there was something that you said in your bio, and you mentioned that you felt like when you went to the city, you observed people increasingly disconnected from the West, or the West that you knew and loved. And you wanted to, somehow bring it back. You felt like it was diluted and soulless, and it made you sad. And it's ironic that I just read that, because anytime I see your pictures in social media, that's the feeling I get. I get this warmth and authenticity of your products. Nonetheless, they're awesome products. You mentioned that your store is not far from the Calgary Stampede. And I just kind of want to talk about that, because I'm very familiar with the Calgary Stampede, and we all know it's a huge rodeo. They get a large attendance, and I think it's a very it's a unique combination for you being in your location, and the fans that come to watch the Calgary Stampede. A lot of them may have never been to a rodeo before, so it's a unique perspective that they are able to maybe come and visit your store, and you're able to dress them with that authentic feel that you're interested in bringing back into the community.
It is. And it's obviously it's our busiest time of year. It's kind of like our Christmas pre-Stampede, but we do take a real pride in styling our clients with a more of an authentic look and a stylish look, apart from the typical urban view of Western wear, which is in our parts, a denim skirt and a plaid shirt and a crushable hat. And so we work really hard at helping people sort of define their own style of West. And often it doesn't take a lot. And one of the comments that we have a lot when people come into the shop is, "Oh, I can actually wear this, all year long. That's awesome." I don't have to just buy this for the Stampede or the rodeo that I might be going to. And so introducing a sort of an urban audience to that has been one of our biggest rewards, to be honest.
Sure. Where do you get your inspiration for, say, the products that you carry? Besides the True West that you have and love in your heart, is there an outside influence where you get your inspiration for products to carry?
We look a lot at sort of Old West, I guess, photographs and books. And there's, even like looking right here in my office, the books that I have is Plains Indians, Regalia and Customs, and paintings and that sort of thing. I feel like in our area, we also have a really, really great up-and-coming generation of cowboys and girls who are super stylish in how they dress. And they are very careful about how they dress and very thoughtful about it. And so I think we often find ourselves kind of inviting that crowd into our shop and talking about what they what they're liking lately. And
Mm-hmm.
I think basically, there's some cornerstones, obviously, to our look: silver, leather, turquoise, and fringe.
Yeah, and I read that was the three components that your store kind of focal points on is silver, leather, and turquoise. And I mean, what more do we need, really?
I know, right?
Going back just real fast to the location of your store, because I find this unique information. You're right at the heart of Inglewood, Calgary, a neighborhood which fittingly bears the distinction of being Cowtown's oldest, having been established as Fort Calgary in 1875. Today, it is a shopping, arts, and music mecca. In 2014, it was named Canada's greatest neighborhood. So you're in a pristine little location.
Yeah, it's really quite a unique neighborhood, and our shop is actually on what is known as Music Mile. And there's a few establishments around us who carry a lot of alt country music on the weekends and even during the week. And we just have the most wonderful, neat shops, and literally like a stone's throw from where it all began in Calgary, which was at the fort.
Sure. Well, in addition to your fashion, I'm going to throw out there the fact that you also have home decor, and I'm going to invite Mike back in here since we kind of, he says he doesn't know about women's fashion, but I don't know about that. But in addition, you also have home decor, which I've been scrolling through this morning, and again, so beautiful and such a warm feel.
Yeah, we've built our brick and mortar shop to be a real Modern West concept store, and to be inviting, to an urban crowd who will come in. And I mean, who doesn't like, I don't know, high bar stool or I think everybody has that little bit of West in them, and they just need to sometimes see it, and then they'll visualize it in their own home.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have an artist who paints skulls, and we work with a lot of local artists and artisans, and we're really proud of that in the shop.
Well, and I think there's another part of the story here, because you're not really content just to operate a successful retail operation. You then have branched into a Western festival with workshops and field trips. And you described one of them to a ranch that has a lot of Western sets for movies. Explain that part of your business and how you see the two linked together.
Yeah, so it really is an extension of the shop, but offers a greater, I guess, portal into an authentic West. Over those years of working with the magazine and becoming so connected with the West, it's a shame not to be able to utilize all of that. And so I had the idea of starting a festival that we called Way Out West Fest. And it offers events that are like, we have a Western art show, and it's not a black tie event, but it's close to it, and where people are encouraged to, dress up in their finest Western clothes. And it's really awesome to see it in the middle of Calgary, everyone arriving with their black ties and, buckskin coats that their grandma gave them or something, and from that kind of an affair to a lot of workshops that are, like this year we have a photographer's workshop that will be out at the A7 Ranch. And the A7 Ranch is owned by the Cross family. And Mr. Cross was one of the 4 founders of the Calgary Stampede. So it's a very exclusive and, like I said, authentic pathway into places like that. And the mission statement of it is to allow people to really, again, grab onto a little bit of West and feel some pride in it. And hopefully, they'll have a great time, learn something, and also end up with a passion for the West.
And I think you also mentioned to me that you are going to start hosting workshops on premise in the store.
We do that already.
I'm sorry. Okay.
But no, that's okay. But we do, about, quarterly, or maybe once every 2 months, we usually host some sort of a workshop that it has some connection to the West, and it might be, leather etching or skull painting, or we had a First Nations artist in not too long ago, And she's an award-winning pointillist, and she taught that kind of illustrating. Just anything that lets you create something and have a great afternoon in the shop. And yeah, we do that.
Well,
we
that's
also
great.
have the odd turquoise night. That's meant to teach people, how to buy turquoise and different mines and things like that. Mm-hmm.
Well, now, so you started a retail store, then you started the Way Out West Fest. What else do you have in mind that you could tell us about? What's the next expansion of your Western-focused empire? I know there's got to be something.
Well, that's a good question. And I think what we're focusing on is more of working with Western art and kind of reintroducing that to the city as well. And that has been sort of the third focus, I guess. You're right. You nailed it. We did have something else that we're working on.
I figured as much. Now, of course, and we are on the Wisdom by WESA podcast. You are a visitor to WESA. What do you take away from WESA that helps you in building your business?
Well, definitely WESA is, one of our mainstay, if not the most important market that we go to, not just because we buy our major brands there, but also because WESA has such an amazing, selection, or so many artisans that we would never meet will come and show at WESA. And I think that helps us create a really curated look in our shop, rather than just carrying sort of main brands. We look for those, but also, that really unique artisan who might be creating something cool, or a cool hat maker or something like that. Really helps us. And it's also great to connect with so many Western minds there and talk about, the retail business.
Well, I think you're doing a marvelous job from a magazine editor, which of course gave you a focus on the lifestyle, but from being a magazine editor to a retailer is a big switch. And then producing workshops and events takes a lot of talent, a lot of organization to do that. And you seem to be well on your way to making that a success.
Well, thanks. I'm really grateful. I have a super team on all ends of that. And, it just wouldn't be happening at all if I didn't have these like-minded people who do have a passion for the West.
Well, I think that's great. I really do. I do thank you. Casey, anything else you want to add?
No, I'm just sitting here shopping on the website as you're finishing up. No, honestly, that's the truth. But I just wanted to throw that out there. There's just a huge selection. I'm just in the women's alone, and there's anything from bottoms, tops, dresses, outerwear, rompers, children, infant. Okay, so that's the next section I'm going to for my little girls. So I think that just to echo what Mike said, just a fantastic company. I love your graphics. I love your passion, and I love the direction you're going.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm really thankful that I was able to do this interview with you and meet you all, and hope to see you up at the shop sometime.
I would love that. If we get to the Calgary Stampede again this year, I'm definitely coming by the store.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great.
Okay. Hey, Ingrid, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
It was a pleasure. Bye-bye.
The show notes and links from today's show can be found at the Wisdom by WESA website, wisdombywesa.com. And, of course, we'd love to hear your feedback. We have a contact link on that website.
The Wisdom by WESA show will be published on the 15th and 30th of every month. You can listen on most of your favorite podcast players. You can also listen on the Horse Radio Network app on your iOS or Android phone. You just search Horse Radio Network in the App Store. It's free and it's super easy to use. Be sure to visit all the great shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com. Thanks for listening to the Wisdom by WESA podcast. WESA, where the industry meets.